I am exceedingly proud to be affiliated with Abbott Northwestern Hospital. I've been here almost 20 years. I believe this is the best place to be a patient. My responsibility at this hospital as Chief of Staff is to ensure the quality of care delivered to every patient that crosses our threshold. I take that responsibility very seriously. I cannot think about the fact that other hospital systems worldwide have the same struggles with something as fundamental as hand hygiene, something that the World Health Organization calls the single most effective way to prevent infectious disease spread. I need to think about the patients we have here today, tomorrow, and long into the future. To me, it's very personal. Very few patients ponder the notion that they will leave here with something that they didn't want, primarily a hospital-acquired infection. Until today, this has really been a dark corner of the room that we've been afraid to look at or even talk about. Phyllis and her family are nothing short of courageous. They understand the risks involved with speaking up and speaking out, but I think that we need to hear their story.
My parents are extremely strong. We grew up with 4 girls in 4 years. I have always said they've deserved sainthood well before them taking in the 100+ foster kids that they did and really teaching them what they hadn't been taught.
What led me here was I had a shoulder replaced, and God bless the doctor, he was wonderful, did a great job, and I came through that, but that's when I got the MRSA. And it wasn't until the day that I was leaving here that it was discovered. When I was told, I couldn't believe what they had said. And they said, had you stay in the hospital any longer, we'd have to quarantine you. And I was just devastated.
What next? She's already got MS. She got a bad shoulder. She had that done. Now she comes here and she goes home with something that, gee, we don't know. You don't know. It's scary, very scary.
I kind of lost my trust. Nobody really followed up with me, and I was kind of on my own, wondering what in the world was going to happen.
If you weren't leaving today, Phyllis, we'd have to put you in isolation. I thought, what? What's this? You know, yeah, you have MRSA. What's this supposed to be? Nobody explained it.
That I got referred to another doctor in Coon Rapids.
There are approximately 1.7 million hospital-acquired infections every year, with about 100,000 deaths. I remember when she came to my clinic for the first time, her and her husband, and she came with MRSA infection, and her story dated back to picking it up probably from the hospital setting. It was somewhat devastating to her because it held a stigma that she was unfamiliar with. She felt like a leper. So she asked, how do I get this off of me? And I explained to her that we decolonize patients sometimes, but the success ratio is very low. It's about 50% at best. And the nature of Staph aureus or MRSA or anything is that the bacteria can come on and off people unbeknownst to the person.
I had no clue what patients went through with MRSA, and that's kind of why I wanted the story said. If caregivers had a clue, to anyone who enters patient rooms about transferring this infection and what's involved, I had to toe scrub 5 consecutive days every month, and then to retest and to do the nasal antibiotics.
Tried and tried and tried with the decolonizing for 5 days. You know, we didn't know if I could get it or what, the hurt they put on other people, what they put them through. They have no idea.
The big deal for her was the fact that she had this bacteria on her that she couldn't seem to get rid of. I think as sweet and cheerful and positive as she portrayed herself always to me in my clinic, there was an undertone of this wasn't fair. This infection was given to her by somebody that took care of her in the hospital.
Toughest thing was when with the great-granddaughter had just been born, and Phyllis just wanted so badly to hold this baby. And well, the kids didn't know. They weren't going to bring her on, and something happened to her that she would get this. We didn't know. Had no idea. And Dr. Slattery said, well, after some months, she said, we're not going to decolonize any longer. We're going to protect ourselves as we go in. And yes, she said, just wash yourself, and and you can hold the grandbaby.
What I think is very, very important, and it's important for me to see somebody foaming in, foaming out, protecting not only themselves, but other people.
You got to protect the patient, you got to protect yourself, you got to protect your own family, and by doing that, you're going to have to be clean. Keep yourself clean. The employee should tell other employees, hey, you gotta, be more vigilant when different with their co-workers.
But really the message is not just about an audit or people tracking hand hygiene. My mom said it really well. It's a habit. And before we know it, the habit will be second nature, and we won't have to keep talking about it.
We know that we have the power to transmit infections with hands that have not been cleaned. We know that. By washing your hands, you are doing an active part by trying to reduce hospital-acquired infections at your hospital. I would just remind everybody in the profession of healthcare, whether they're a nurse, a doctor, physical therapist, or respiratory therapist, that we want to first do no harm to patients. And if we know something, for instance, hand hygiene can reduce hospital-acquired infections, then we ought to do that.
This video is really nothing less than a call to action. A call to action to do the right thing, to foam in and to foam out each time we cross the patient's doorway. Because it's the right thing to do, and it's the right thing to do for the patient, and it's the right thing to do for ourselves. However, we need to be held accountable, and we need to hold one another accountable to your health.